Tables turn, battles change, and stories evolve as the season goes on, and we've seen just that this spring. Maxime Plant and Travis Miller in lockstep formation enter Thunder Valley with the largest gap betwixt them thus far. The BRP iRacing series is next on PitStop TV.
Alright, boys, here we are here for the 2021 Daytona Nortona 500. Can I get a good old Nortona?
The field will now come up onto the main straightaway, and the first green flag of 2021 Season 1 for the Pacific Challenge GT3 Series is underway from Donington.
Mono, Jack running it for the back, but Merrick Watchorn misses the corner. Ryan through to the race lead. A last lap pass and a last lap crash for Merrick Watchorn.
Photo finish, possibly. Here comes Travis Brown behind Michael Cozy, cozy up the block.
Oh, here comes Brown.
Travis Brown at the line. It's going to be Cozy winning the StarCom Invitational at Talladega.
You're not carrying enough
3 wide.
Oh,
no! Mike saw him.
Oh, he
How
saved it.
about it? He said at the top of the show he didn't care about getting up to the front. He didn't care about leading this race. They did exactly that from the start of the show. Out of turn number 4, Rick Ray Vaughn is finally going to do it. Rick Ray Vaughn wins the Indianapolis 500.
iRacing.com Porsche safety car will pull into the safety of pit lane. D'Alessandro on the left-hand side of your screen is going to lead us to the green here at Sonoma.
Side by side, the last couple of corners, it's going to be a drag race. Shades of Bobby Labonte and Dale Earnhardt. No! Oh, they hit to make more contact. They touch more. Is Tyler Johnson across the line. Out of turn number 4, it's going to be the 20 or the 21 drag race of the stripe. They touch. They touch. It's McGill.
Okay, they're 4 wide in the middle of 3 and 4. Goggle in the middle. Oh, contact in this car. It's going to be a carnage fest on the front stretch. Yellow flag down. Who is that?
But Miller down to the inside. The Thriller takes the lead. Jackson crosses him up. Down the backstretch, Earl Jackson's got the lead, and he is gonna win at Lima. Maybe not. It's a drag race. Who gets it? Can Dave Corso go back to back? Jean-Philippe Bergeron are gonna send it in deep and out of turn 4, across the line. Too close to call. Welcome to the BRP iRacing Series Pro Dirt Late Model Tour. Joe Donahue and Trey Shuttlesworth join me this evening as per usual. We thank you for tuning in on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter for the 6th round of the season. We're at the virtual Bristol Motor Speedway in Bristol, Tennessee, on a brand new dirt surface laid down earlier this calendar year. It's still 1/2 mile, it's still highly banked, and it's still bad fast, but I expect it to take this continuously changing points sheet and rumble it around some more this evening.
Tonight's going to be an exciting night. We came here last season, for the modified showdown. That was a interesting ordeal, although I thought those modifieds raced pretty well here last season out. You look at those point standings, you see some of those guys who raced in that event at the top end: Maxime Plant, Travis Miller, Gavin Eisel, but you got some new names up there too: Earl Jackson, Hunter Reeve even up in the top 10. I think the late models are going to play really nicely in this track tonight. Hopefully the guys keep it smooth and get as good of a race out of it as we saw from the modifieds last time.
Absolutely, and these late models, they seem to be some of the best racing that we've ever had in the BRP iRacing series, I gotta say. We saw a finish in that quick intro from Limaland, for example, where it's just been incredible racing, and it came down to under 1/100th of a second. It's crazy how much closer these guys can race, and I have to truly believe that it does come down to the fact that these are relatively full-bodied cars, as opposed to, of course, the sprint cars the first season we covered with these guys, the modifieds last time through. These late models can take a bit more contact without spinning out, and we've seen that a lot so far this season. Speaking of the season, as you see points, we'll take that down. Let's take a look at our schedule this time through, Joe. And Volusia Speedway kicked it all off back in April. Now we're into the very end of May already. Can you believe it? May 24th this evening at Bristol, next week at Weed Sport, and then we go into a 6-race run to the finish.
Yeah, it's been a quick season to say the least. It's always great to have something to come out for once a week and just bring the gang back together. But I thought Lanier went really well last week. I've enjoyed Knoxville. I missed Limaland for exams, but Lernerville and Volusia were also really great. And I look forward to Weedsport. I think that's going to be fun. Eldora is always a classic. Cedar Lake's great. Kokomo's great. USA is going to be fun. Fairbury's going to be awesome. Charlotte's going to rock. I mean, this is a great schedule to round it out to the finish. And just week after week, we're going to have some really awesome racetracks that hopefully these guys get worked in nicely. We get some 2-lane action. We get some cool shows. And just week after week, bringing the BRP guys out to have a good show on the dirt. They're known for that. They're known for the good quality racing on the dirt.
Absolutely. It's been a fun season so far, and I talk about the points always changing, and the season is always evolving. We've also, with the big help of Joe Donahue, put together some power rankings. Those were posted earlier today on our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter accounts, and you can check in on some of that. But I can tell you, Maxime Plant is leading the way, of course. I don't think that's any surprise. But Earl Jackson, he's listed 2nd place. Gavin Eisel, he moves up to 3rd. Travis Miller, though, he's sitting in that 4th spot. He's got to get something going on this evening, and as we speak, he sits 15th of 15 so far in the practice session. He has got to get something going. He's won here in other leagues, in other cars, on the pavement, on the concrete, but he has got to figure out Bristol this evening. It could be do or die time for Travis Miller to get some momentum rolling and to move his way up, not only in those power rankings, but more importantly in the point standings. We'll see how it all shakes out in just a little while. We're going to take a quick break away. We'll be right back to you after this quick message from our partners here at PitStop TV with continuing coverage from Bristol.
Sound Art introduces an entirely new way to listen to music in your home. By combining the best of 2 products, a revolutionary high-fidelity, low-profile Bluetooth wireless speaker with beautiful artwork. Select from a library of artwork or upload your own photos to personalize your experience. Sound Art ushers in an era of invisible, beautiful, and amazing sound throughout your home and redefines your entire entertainment system. The need to reclaim your floor space and rid your home of unsightly speaker boxes that need to be bolted to the wall is now a thing of the past. Our canvas is printed on high-quality permalite by Breathing Color. And select from our gallery or upload your own. Standard sizes include 16 by 20 and 18 by 24 canvas wrapped. Custom sizing is available, as well as surround sound options.
Have you found yourself trying to hide your joy because you're unhappy with your teeth? Your smile is the first feature noticed in an interview, on a date, or in family photos. We want you to be able to shine bright as your best self, and our teeth whitening system is the perfect step toward restoring your confidence.
Sound Art is a product that is a speaker and it's art. We combine it together and we call it Sound Art. What makes it so unique that any picture can be your speaker? Sound Art gives you the high quality sound without the ugly speaker. This isn't a picture with a speaker, the picture is the speaker. Just imagine your wedding picture uploaded onto a canvas and now it's speaking 10,000 tunes. I mean, it's a very cool concept. What we like so much about it that you can take anything that means something very special to you, upload it on the canvas, have it hanging up in your room, your balcony, wherever you want to put it, and now it's a speaker. I mean, how cool is that? It's something that we have that and no one has. No one has this product. It's just a great gift to give anybody. It's just a neat concept. Around here we say, art never sounded so good.
After months of quarantine, we're all interested in how we can become our best self. The team at Permanent Makeup and Cryo is here to help you get the flawless makeup look every day without the extra effort or time. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy.
Welcome back to the virtual Bristol Motor Speedway. I talked about it earlier. It's still that half mile, still bad fast, still the world's fastest half mile as per the grandstand suites. It's a fantastic little racetrack, and I'm glad that we have this dirt version, although I gotta wonder, man, the novelty, how long will it last? How long does it stay on these schedules like this? I love having it, but at some point, right, it feels like one of those special venues, almost like Tulsa and the Chili Bowl, Joe. But regardless, no matter how long it stays on weekly schedules, I'm glad we have it this evening. It's going to be an interesting little shakeup for these late models, especially. I think sprint cars, for some reason, they feel a little more, I don't know, appropriate here. I don't know why that is. To me, the modifieds were interesting last season. We'll see how these late models do, though.
Yeah, you know, the sprint cars, I think that's fair to say about sprint cars. Obviously, back in 2000, when they ran the show the first time with the dirt on Bristol, it was specifically the sprint cars that made the big lines. They had late models there, too, I believe, the first year. Maybe it was the second year they brought those. But on the sim itself, you got to think, you know, yeah, it was a special event one time in the real world, but, you know, this is iRacing, and these guys have the chance and the choice to make a schedule around the tracks they want to see on their schedule, obviously. So you put Bristol on the list of possible tracks. You put a track that's high banked, fast, exciting, unique, exciting and high paced, fast paced. That kind of opportunity for somebody who's creating a league is going to say, yeah, I want to put a race like that on. You know, it's kind of a wild card. It's a little different than the other dirt tracks these guys are going to go to. So I think as long as they get the chance, league owners all across the globe are going to put this one on their schedules by just a regular basis. It's going to be there season in, season out. I think this is just the type of track that you want, that one-off, that one exciting, unique race that's just different than all the rest. And I think that's why Bristol keeps returning. And obviously, you know, you look back at the race we had with the modifieds, pretty exciting stuff. So I think it does what it needs to, but it definitely still puts on a good show for everybody watching. And I think there's plenty of races yet to come, especially here on PitStop TV with this racetrack.
It was kind of funny there for a moment. You mentioned exciting twice in adjectives for the track, and I don't know, for some reason my mind went to just, oh yeah, you know, it's exciting, it's different, it's cool, it's exciting, it's cool, it's, I don't know, for some reason that's where my brain went, but that kind of is how it feels here. I think the repetitious nature is just from the racetrack, of course. I mean, the joke goes around in NASCAR races where sometimes you don't know which straightaway is which, and I think that's even true for these guys. I think we could tell there'll be fewer pit stalls. We won't have pit stalls, pit boxes on the backstretch, I don't believe, this evening, of course, but it is really hard to tell which straightaway is which set of corners is which. I don't know, a little note that kind of popped into my head there, but I like that you mentioned that it is different. And when I see people on Facebook groups, you know, dirt groups especially, asking what dirt track should we get next on iRacing? What dirt track do you want to see? Make your case for your local track. Well, quite honestly, I don't care about my local track down the road, and in this way. Now, obviously, we all love our local tracks, but it's not necessarily about getting it on iRacing, and my argument for that case is I just like to see things that are different. I like to see more variety. I like to see how we can add to the sim in giving us all better options, more options with which to race on. I don't want just the same kind of boring dirt tracks all the time, the same wide half miles. No, I'd like to see anything that gives us variety. Now, if it's different because it's weirdly banked, weirdly shaped, got weird walls, whatever, that's fine. Just anything that gives us a bit of difference in the sim, and that goes for more than just dirt racing. I think that goes for road courses, that goes for paved ovals, that goes for rallycross tracks, anything on the sim, any cars as well, anything that's just different, I like. And I go on this tangent because I think Bristol dirt fits that bill.
I would agree with that 100%. I think the track is very unique out of the, 13 or 14 dirt tracks on the sim. You've got tracks like, you know, Williams Grove is pretty unique because it's kind of paper clip shaped. It's got a long straightaway. The corners are relatively flat. You got like Lima Land, short, high banked, very unique as well. But obviously then you've got Bristol, very high banked, very long, and just has a lot of allure to it. You know, it's the last great Coliseum, and it truly is. And you're used to it being a paved track. Now it's got dirt, and now these guys have a chance to make that excitement and make that unique track a part of their schedule. So I agree with you 100%, Andrew. This is the type of track that no matter where you live in the country, you would vote for this to be in the sim.
And thankfully, you will no longer have to vote. It is here, it is in front of us, and it is fantastic to race on. Cars getting out of the speedway for qualifying now. Travis Miller, one of the first to hit the dirt, and it's so important that he goes out there and executes this evening. Already talked a lot about it. He has got to get this ship righted. He still is second in points, and he could still have a late revival later in the season, but it's you just don't want to get behind, and right now he is getting behind. 13 points back on Maxime Plant. Something's got to change.
Yeah, and we talked about those power rankings a little earlier. You mentioned them. Those power rankings kind of are meant to relay the recent results of the driver, too, as he's going to come across the line the first time. He slates himself first as one of the few drivers to get a lap time in. Now he goes straight to second and third. Those results that you see on the power rankings when we get the chance to share them with you, those kind of represent recent stuff. And so for Travis Miller to be starting to fall off that, it kind of shows that he's kind of on the way down right now, needs to pick things up. But you're looking at the rest of the guys out on track right now, a couple more names such as Ryder Schrauf right there. You got Jamie Porter, guys that we're expecting to see try to shove themselves up a little bit in that point standings, especially here tonight at Bristol.
A lot of names moving forward on those on the speed chart so far. Here's Corby Daniels in his chrome blue machine, and Jamie Porter goes faster. That's 2 purple laps if you're keeping count at home. That is incredible for Jamie Porter. He is on a roll, and Maxime Plant can't touch it. He goes second. Ryder Schrauf, he's done. Corby Daniels is slowing down. Does anybody have anything here for the 45 car? No, it doesn't look like it. I don't think anybody's going to touch that 45. Brett Fisher might be one of the few that has a chance, and here he comes. I think this is turns 3 and 4, and onto the front stretch it is. And does he go faster from 10th up to 5th, but not fast enough for pole? These are bonus points as long as this guy doesn't beat him. Earl Jackson now on the speedway to qualify.
Earl Jackson, one of those guys we talk about being at the top end of the field more regularly now than before. And I think, you'd look at last week, you look at the week before, he's kind of bringing it back. He gets across the line right here. He sets a lap, P7. He'll get another shot to go to the top end. This is one of those guys we definitely have to watch to see if he's going to try to take the top spot in qualifying, try to take the top spot in the race. That's one to watch tonight.
Well, yeah, second in our power rankings, third in points. And he'll stay 7th place in qualifying. So everybody's qualified, all 16 cars, yet Jamie Porter stays on top. That is extremely important. That is 2 bonus points for Jamie Porter. And we can come back to these standings. You don't see him. He needs those points for sure. He's got to get his own season righted now. It might be a little bit too late. He did miss a race or two earlier on in the season. I want to say he missed Lima Land, fresh off of a fantastic run the week prior. So he's really got to get something going this evening and the rest of the evenings in the season if he wants to try and make some of these points up. I don't know that we're talking about Jamie Porter as a championship contender just because of the points he missed, but hey, a race win would sound pretty good to go along with that 45 car. 8 cars in Heat 1. Let's take a look at our starting grid. Starting first is that 45 of Jamie Porter with Gavin Eisel, last week's winner at Lanier, to his outside. Both of these guys are turning heads this season. You see Brett Fisher lined up 3rd place here in Heat number 1. Earl Jackson to his outside, the Lima Land winner. The inside of row number 3 gives us Corby Daniels with the Wild Child to his outside, Tanner Correa in that 11 car. Starting 7th in Heat 1, it's Wild Bill in that 99. Hunter Holberg starts to the inside of the big show, Randy Giroux.
How to look at this track right now, it's still tacky, so the guys who want to go to the bottom side are going to be paid well. I think that suits Gavin Eisel. I think that might suit a couple of those guys starting on the inside line. Watch out for Brett Fisher and the rest of them behind. Maybe even Hunter Holberg, one of those guys who's been getting some pretty awesome performances out of this season so far. So definitely a lot of hot ones to watch in this first heat race of the night.
See them doing something you see on pavement, going and swerving, cleaning off the tires. I don't think they're trying to build up heat necessarily, but just kind of messing around, setting the car and get to jump up on the bars a couple of times under these pace laps, getting the feel for things. And you know what? That is actually relatively useful to a driver sometimes to see how the setup is going to handle if you have to take evasive action. Just a little side note there, but we will get ready to go 8 laps the distance here in heat number 1 as per usual. And also, as per usual, got to give a big shout out to the BRP iRacing Series partners. Bicknell Racing Products, of course, the namesake of the BRP iRacing Series, Matt DeRitter Designs, Jam Performance, Costco Haulage, and Miller's Auto Detailing. Getting ready to send these guys around the speedway 8 times. That's 4 miles here at Bristol. Green flag flies, Porter's off and away. Gavin Isel, fantastic start, hanging it all on the outside, and he might clear Porter into 3. He's got him cleared for just a moment, but Jamie drives back down to the inside, and a race up to the start-finish line to complete lap 1.
First lap led by Gavin Isel. You can see how badly that 18 car wants the inside line. Jamie Porter holding down there. Earl Jackson's running way low, might go 3 wide for the race lead. He goes absolutely below the banking in car number 58. A little bit of... Oh, they're going to get contact. Maybe save it. No, around they go.
And this may give us a yellow, and it does. Earl Jackson, the source of our first caution flag of the evening. This in Heat 1, and that was a big one.
That was a carnage fest on the front stretch, to say the least. That was just a lot of cars fighting for very small amounts of the same real estate. They go through 3 and 4 and just get all sorts of squirrely. We're watching it back here on the official replay. You see that Earl Jackson starting to peak to the bottom side. They go 3 wide into turn 3. Jackson held well down low. It was actually Isel and Porter who started getting too close for comfort there, and then obviously Isel got right up into Earl Jackson. Just a lot of contact and a lot of cars around right there in 1 and 2. That was, it included most of the field too.
Yeah, most drivers in this first heat race were involved in some way, shape, or form in that first yellow, but it shapes up for a very interesting run to the finish here in heat number 1. Jamie Porter still your race leader. Corby Daniels will take over 2nd place. Isel drops to 3rd. Hunter Holberg into 4th. The Wild Child into 5th. Randy Giroux into 6th. Earl Jackson 7th. And Brett Fisher now in 8th. And it's worth mentioning, Earl Jackson is on the pit lane. And it looks like in some way, Brett Fisher has lost a lap and his nose under this caution flag.
Not what Brett Fisher needed at all. It's going to more than likely just going to send him to the tail end of the field for this feature. It's going to be hard for him to make any ground up from it, but you got time and 40 laps in the feature, so there should be a chance for Brett to get it back tonight, but definitely not the way you want the heat races to go. There's a couple extra bonus points that you might want if you're more towards the tail of the field or trying to get a couple extra spots in that championship, so not at all what those guys needed right now.
And I think the biggest detriment is that he's going to be starting quite deep in the field for the feature race. Of course, points are paid for these heat races. You get 4 for winning it. You get 3 for second. You get you get 2 for third rather, and you get 1 for fourth. So 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, they all pay the same. The big problem is that he's going to line up 8th here on this restart, 1 lap behind anybody with likely only 1 lap to race. So he is quite literally written into last. There's no way for him to pick up positions as we... Oh, you know what? No, it does extend, but I still don't think it's likely. This caution, though, I'll tell you what, it's taken longer than I ever would have expected. 1 more caution lap, that must have been 2 to green that time by. We'll get 1 to green this next time through.
Yeah, a little interesting that it got delayed enough that we can do this, but hey, we're getting a race to the finish at least, so that should be giving us some excitement up front. Jamie Porter, Gavin Isel are up there, as well as Corby Daniels. Those guys, obviously we got some fast ones. Corby Daniels could be making a pretty big swing of things right here. That would be great to see from the beef. But Jamie Porter, Gavin Isel, 2 big swingers in this series, and definitely going to be watching those 2 to see what they come up with to get to the end of this heat race and try to get those 4 points.
Pace truck lights have been extinguished this time through at the Bristol Motor Speedway. That means we'll have 2 laps of green flag racing to finish up this first heat on the evening before we go into an 8-lap second heat and then our 40-lap feature event. Corby Daniels starts to the inside of Jamie Porter this time around. I'm interested by Jamie Porter taking that outside. He seemed to do pretty good for himself on the bottom on the race start. This will be interesting. He's leaning a little ways back, runs up, gets the start. He's going to clear Corby and then some. He brings Hunter Holberg along with, and Jamie Porter, the sole leader, into 1 and 2.
Smart moves off the restart by Jamie Porter. Hunter Holberg was able to hold on at least enough to go up into P2. Gavin Eisel making it 3 wide down the back straightaway as they go into the corners again. Corby Daniels up top. Then you've got a rundown on the bottom side by the Big Show. Randy Giroux trying to peek into the top 3 here on the white flag lap of this heat race.
A battle for the race lead as well. Wild Bill is all over, he is Hunter Holberg. He's all over Jamie Porter, but through turns 3 and 4, there's nothing Hunter Holberg can do, and across the line goes Jamie Porter to win heat number 1. Giroux takes 3rd, and it was Correa in 4th, Corbin Daniels 5th, and so on and so forth. We'll see how they line up for our feature race in just a little while, but for now, we will line them up. We will take a gander at our starting grid. Joe, I'll give this one to you.
To roll off heat number 2, you start on the inside with the gentleman Maxime Plant in car number 79. And his outside is going to be the owner of MDR Designs, Matt DeRitter, in car number 03. Roll back to row number 2. You start on the inside with Ryder Schrauf out of Indiana. And his outside is going to be Travis Miller, looking to make some momentum up in that number 22 machine with this heat race tonight. Row 3 starts on the inside with car number 2. You got Alan Slight and Adam Hilton to his outside in car number 3. That's a guy that we are watching to see if he can carry some momentum from last week. And then you roll to the final row. Dean Meitzler in car number 49 on the inside and Tyler Pachalski on the outside. These two running shotgun on the field, but looking to make a couple spots up. They've got some pretty solid performances in this season. Looking to add one more in tonight here at Bristol.
And I'm sure they can as well. We'll see how they do this evening from the Bristol Motor Speedway. Thunder Valley, of course, in Bristol, Tennessee. Maxime Plant starting on pole for this one. It seems like he's set up to take 4 points out of this heat and really start to lengthen that gap back to Travis Miller some more. But Travis is in this heat race and can directly influence that lead that Maxime Plant has. We've seen them split up a lot and they just keep taking those heat wins. But something's going to give this evening. We'll see which one of them comes out on top. Maxime Plant the advantage as we come around to take the green flag momentarily. Again, 8 laps the distance as per usual in every heat race here in the BRP iRacing series, unless it gets extended like the previous one. So, coming through turns 3 and 4, 8 cars lined up, 4 rows deep, 4 miles to go. Maxime Plant waits on the starter's signal, and we are green flag from Bristol. Once again, that fantastic jump for DeRitter, some contact further back, Pachalski up the hill, but they stay racing into turns 3 and 4. Here comes the thriller, Travis Miller.
I was kind of surprised off that initial restart. Maxime Plant, that initial start was Maxime Plant not really getting the best of runs. Matt DeRitter, excellent off the top side. Travis Miller using it to his advantage as well, put that 22 car temporarily at least in the second spot as he runs around the gentleman, and we'll see if he can get around Matt DeRitter down on the inside, maybe down the front straightaway.
Already fighting to the back end of that 03 car, and he's looking quick. He goes purple that lap. The 22 is here, and he means business this evening. He's got something figured out. Just wasn't too fast on the slick practice track, but, I mean, he is all over that 03. 3 laps complete.
As they're going for the race lead, Schrauf putting still a little bit of pressure on Plant behind him, but the race is side by side up at the front end. Travis Miller to the bottom side, didn't quite get it off the bottom of turn 2. DeRitter holds on to the race lead. They come to the halfway point of this one. Maxime Plant trying to trek back in on these two guys.
Slight went fastest that time through, but up front, everything holds as is. Schrauf joins these guys up front. A little bobble out of turn 2, and we'll complete lap 5 this time by. Maxime Plant still can't find anything. We're just in a line right now, but something's going to give eventually, and Miller looks high on entry, now buckles down low on exit as Plant went purple that time, and we've got a side-by-side battle for second.
Maxime Plant trying to win his 5th heat race of the season. Travis Miller now making a big move to try to win his 3rd heat race of the season. Matt DeRitter leads the way, 2 to go, and he's looking for his 1st heat race win of the season all these three guys, put them under a blanket out of turn number 2, side by side for second, as DeRitter still leading the way, just barely over these two hungry drivers behind him.
Miller loses second, and that promotes Plant up to that second position. He's got a chance here in the 1 and 2. He doesn't take it just yet. He's running higher up the racetrack. You see DeRitter just holding ground in the middle. Down the backstretch for the final time in heat number 1. Where does Maxime go? He stays up high. Does he cut down low? He does. He's looking drag race. It's not going to happen. First, second, third, DeRitter, Plant, Miller, then Schrauf, Slight, Hilton, Meisler, and Pachalski in heat number 2. That was fun.
Honestly, that was a feel-good moment right there. I know it's not the final feature of the night, but seeing Matt DeRitter up at the front end makes me feel good. That was awesome to see from the 03 machine.
That it does, and fittingly so. We'll play Stars Align here as we go through our starting grid for our feature event this evening from the virtual Bristol Motor Speedway. On pole, for the second time this season, I do believe, and I think third time in his career, Jamie Porter will lead us to the green flag in our feature race. Matt DeRitter on outside pole. How about that start for the driver of the 03? Wild Bill Hunter Holberg rolls off third position this evening. Maxime Plant, though, will start fourth. The gentleman's got some work to do up in the front. Starting fifth this evening, it's the big show, Randy Giroux, to the inside of the thriller, Travis Miller. Starting seventh place, this evening, it's the Wild Child, Tanner Correa, with Ryder Schrauf to his outside.
Rolling back to row number 5, on the inside, you've got the Beef, Corby Daniels, with Alan Slight on the outside in car number 2. Then in row number 6, it's Earl Jackson and Adam Hilton, 2 cars to watch to see if they can move towards the front. Roll back to row number 7, you got the unlucky 13th starting spot to Gavin Eisel with Dean Meitzler to his outside. And running shotgun on tonight's feature event, 40 laps to go. Brett Fisher and Tyler Pachalski got plenty of time to see if they can get up there, but you got to stay out of the calamity, Andrew. That's the big thing on these first couple laps of the feature.
Boy, it's a bad night to be running a 21 car, isn't it? 21, 121, the back row of our feature event this evening from Bristol. Calamity is going to be the name of the game. How you miss it, though, that will be what separates you from victory and, well, the hauler this evening, I think, frankly. Jimmy Porter will lead us to the green flag here momentarily. Thank you so much for tuning in this evening on PitStop TV. It would not be possible without any of our partners with the BRP iRacing Series. Of course, Bicknell Racing Products, the namesake of the BRP iRacing Series, Matt DeRitter Designs, Gem Performance, Pete Costco Haulage, Miller's Auto Detailing, as well as Tucson Sound Art, Race Pace Setups, Permanent Makeup in Cryo and Maine, Whiplash Media, and BAM Racing Videos. We're waiting on that green flag signal one more time. The green flag flies. We're racing from Bristol Motor Speedway on the dirt with Pro Dirt late models. And out of turn number 4, Porter barely gets back to the race lead, leads that time through, but look at that dry slick groove already developing down low. DeRitter hit it and almost spun around, and he loses second, he loses third, he's back down to 4th.
Yeah, I don't know if DeRitter didn't expect it to be that slick so quick, or if it caught him out that he maybe missed his entry a little bit, but you saw him get so sideways through 1 and 2 last time, definitely showing where the slick stuff is right now. The top side's going to be dominant in 1 and 2 right now. You see Maxime Plant using it to his advantage while going a little over the top side into the loose stuff up there as there's contact in the car around. As I say it, we got a big incident. Adam Hilton going airborne. Yellow's going to come out.
He just jumped the pit wall.
That bunny hopped over that one barely, just barely got over it. But wow, that was a wild ride for the 3 machine.
This isn't Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. I don't know where he was going with that one, but big problems back here for the 3 car of Adam Hilton. He had some problems out of turn 4. He was racing Ryder Schrauf and Hunter Holberg, and you mentioned it earlier, Joe. He's somebody we're watching for. He's on an upturn so far this season, but right here, boy, this is a big detour. He's way to the bottom side, all the way down on the flat. It just slides him up the racetrack. Schrauf tags him, and he's around. Oh, Randy gets a big piece of it. Slight ramps him up, and just right into that pit wall and over that pit wall. That's incredible.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive that he got over that wall right there, that it would have gripped up and gone over. But, I mean, that slider was so significant. That was such a commitment of a corner that he made. And obviously, Ryder Schrauf didn't really have any time or opportunity to react and avoid that. It just kind of happened so quickly with him in front. You're riding on board with Adam Hilton. He's behind Schrauf for the moment they go through turns 1 and 2 off the top side. And now you're going to see Hilton look to the bottom and just send it in here. absolutely committed to this run and just barely gets a little bit of the nose of Ryder Ralph, and then, as we say, calamity ensued.
So Adam Hilton, the source of our first incident this evening at the Bristol Motor Speedway, he's got some work to do to recover from that one. That is for sure. We did get to lap 4 before that one happened, I think just barely as the leaders came across the line, or maybe completed lap 4, it's hard to say. But that leaves Jamie Porter in control of the race under our first caution flag of the evening. Let's take a look at our race weather here at the Bristol Motor Speedway. 82 degrees ambient, 78 degrees ambient, 82 degrees on the racetrack. That's interesting, but of course we are racing during the day. That's why it's actually warmed up compared to most dirt races where the track is a little bit cooler with that water in it, but very, very calm weather this evening.
Yeah, kind of silly to admit on my behalf that I didn't really realize it was a day race. I just never really thought about looking at the sky, I guess. I was too busy watching the exciting racing on the track, but the day racing is definitely going to wear the track out quicker, and you're going to see the slick stuff coming up quickly. So obviously that would make it known why we had such a slick bottom side so quickly into this feature. But hey, it's got plenty of time left. 35 laps left on the calendar, 36 on the calendar for the rest of this one, and plenty of time, plenty of drivers, plenty of chances, plenty of action to come.
Jamie Porter selects the top side that time by the start finish, and that's exactly what he did in heat number 1. No surprise then he does so for the feature. Coming to start lap 5 and restart the race, Porter gets that roll off the top, and he's got them all cleared well before turn 1. Green flag back out at Bristol.
Same kind of move he made in his heat race, and while he didn't have Holberg right behind him keeping up as quickly, he does have DeRitter taking advantage of the chance, and then behind him even you got Travis Miller now moving up past his guy in the championship lead, the guy he's looking the most to for the championship. Maxime Plant now dropped back that one spot. Don't give up on him quite yet. A couple guys here on the bottom side of turns 1 and 2. We saw how slick it was already, but we know Gavin Eisel likes to catfish, and he's leading the way right now down on the bottom side with Brett Fisher through 3 and 4.
Earl Jackson gets clear of that 18 car. We're just looking back here in case something happened, but up front, Matt DeRitter is holding on to second just in front of Travis Miller. This is big for that 03 car to stay up there this time around. He learned from his mistakes earlier on. He's working that top, putting that right rear up next to that black wall here at Bristol. Boy, he's getting closer and closer as the laps take off. Now lap 8 of 40, and he's starting to work that high side in along with everybody else. Everybody's moved up. You see Porter up there right on that Larson line. Miller's up there. The gentleman as well, even though Maxime fell to 4th on that restart.
Yeah, and what this is going to do is this is going to wear out the top side quicker that everybody's running up there, and then it's going to slowly but surely make the bottom side a little bit better, and that's when you see guys like Gavin Eisel who are willing to go down there and experiment with the bottom side, take advantage of some of the time they have before everybody else realizes they got to run down low. But hey, for the moment, 4 cars running under a blanket for the race at the front end of the field. Travis Miller going to be looking to the bottom side, maybe try a slider. He stays low. He actually 2 for 1 almost through 3 and 4, but Jamie Porter holds on with momentum on the top.
Almost had that special, but entering low for 1 is going to kill that move. He's going to quickly fall back. Plant fills the hole, and he will go caboose on the train. It's kind of like NASCAR at Talladega, isn't it, where you move out of line and you don't have help, you're going to the back. You've got to have something else happen when you make that move. Otherwise, you're just going to fall back to whatever group you're in. Jamie Porter still leads. I notice he's got the wireframe on that car. I don't know why that caught my eye, but maybe Matt DeRitter can help him with that one because that MDR Designs 03 is looking quick.
Looking good and looking quick, too. The car is running very well. And I know we talked about this maybe a week or 2 ago, how we're looking to see a couple new, unique names get into the top 3 that we haven't seen yet this season. Matt DeRitter right now looking to be one of them. Jamie Porter leading the way as well, but has had some speed this year so far with Maxime Plant and Travis Miller trying to spoil that show as they barely don't. They might have even touched the wall through 1 and 2 that time. Just shows you how quickly we're running that top side up.
Jamie just moved out of line twice. I don't know why he did it. He backs himself up, and Matt DeRitter just goes straight to the bottom, takes the race lead away. I was watching while you were talking there, Joe. Jamie just moved out of line for no reason, and he completely just opened the door for Matt. The pass exchanges hands once more. Now Travis Miller back down to the basement. Does it work this time? No. I'm still, though, just befuddled by that.
You know, you got to try it every once in a while, and we have a little bit of time left in this race as Ooh, that was close right there. DeRitter pops back to the bottom side. The over-under is going to go for the 03 machine as he's going to try to slide back into second spot right here. You got to experiment a little bit, and Travis Miller did the same and lost a little bit of time, but obviously gained it back. DeRitter tried it down on the bottom there, trying a crossover. That crossover almost didn't work for Travis Miller. He almost lost control of it, and look who's in the picture. Hunter Holberg has made an appearance again in the 99.
Well, the leader started messing around and brought everybody else back up to them. Plant now working the bottom. He slides to Ritter, and the crossover now from the 03. He takes that spot back away. Here comes Travis down to the basement. He'll slide up to the attic on exit. Maybe a 2-for-1. He tried. Oh, what a bump from his teammate. Oh, boy. Matt moved him out of the way. Now Travis completes that pass, and he gets turned. Oh, no. The gentleman.
What a bizarre turn into turn one. Yellow's out. Matt DeRitter involved. Hunter Holberg was upside down. He had to reset. Maxime Plant. What a show into that corner.
I gotta say it, that's not the first time we've seen Maxime do that this season. We've seen that relatively commonly from the 79, I think, where, you know, these late models on iRacing, they're not quite like in real life. You can tuck a nose right under the fuel cell of a car in a real late model. You can't do that here on iRacing. The hitboxes don't work the same. You can't slip a nose under the rear end in between the quarter panels. It doesn't work. But Maxime tries, and he's tried it before, and he just gets into Matt DeRitter and turns him around, and everybody stacks up. There's nowhere to go.
Yeah, obviously, when we're running so quickly and so close together, those guys like Hunter Holberg and behind, they don't have any time to really react to the situation. And Maxime Plant just seemed like he got a little bit of a better run through the middle of the corner and caught up to DeRitter. But obviously, like you said, you can't tuck the nose underneath, and you just can't run into each other. You have to be willing to let up a little bit of your run if you want to avoid something like this. And Maxime Plant, unfortunately, for himself and for Matt DeRitter and Hunter Holberg, did not quite do that this time through.
And this is the one mistake that I consistently see Maxime make. It's the one thing I see him do wrong ever, is just tucking up underneath somebody, expecting to be able to shove the nose underneath the back end of another car. You can't do it on iRacing. It's unfortunate, but you just can't. And again, it's the one thing I see him consistently do that usually ends in an incident. And he's not necessarily doing anything wrong. That's late model racing on dirt. You can do that. I mean, you can see them fold the quarter panels in, up, and under the car. But on iRacing, the hitboxes just don't quite work the same. There are certain limitations on a computer, and unfortunately, those will be the only detours I think that he has from a fantastic, almost perfect season.
Yeah, I would agree with that, Andrew. I mean, Maxime Plant is very well known for not putting a foot wrong most of the time, but obviously we all have our one Achilles heel that might get to us, and unfortunately Maxime got caught out by his just again. So I believe we're going to go back to green flag racing here, and he'll get a chance as we come to the halfway point of this race to recuperate a couple of those points and a couple of those positions. But it's just that one thing, you know, it's always that one thing you got to work on a little bit if you want to avoid situations like that.
We are coming up perfectly to halfway. When we restart this race this time through, we will complete the first half of action here at the Bristol Motor Speedway, at least in our feature event. Jamie Porter, the race leader, he chooses the top side as per expectations, I'd say. Not quite as big of a restart, but he still gets Travis Miller well and cleared by turn one, and everybody goes up high.
They sort of crossed lanes on the front row right there, but look at the run Earl Jackson and Gavin Eisel had on the bottom side through 1 and 2 that time. They are starting to make some noise and starting to move up in this field. Heck, Earl Jackson's running P3 right now, right beside Alan Slight. Those two racing for the position still go through the 1 and 2. Gavin Eisel down on the bottom side still likes to bottom feed in that 18 machine, and it's starting to pay off. He's running in the top 3, looking for a run into the podium right now.
Caution flag flies somewhere in the rear, and it looks like, oh my, Dean Meisler pirouetting on the dirt on the inside on the apron there. Corby Daniels, Tyler Pachalski, the source of this one, though.
Looked like we had two upside down there. Pachalski and Meisler will get the replay back here so we can all see what transpired to send those two cars airborne and include the beef in this situation. So we're running nose to tail to nose to tail to nose to tail to nose to tail right now down the front straightaway. You see them side by side in front. You've got Pachalski in the yellow car and Corby Daniels in the blue car on the very top line. They go 3 wide with Brett Fisher and Randy Giroux, and just a little bit of a catch out from Tyler Pachalski right there And then inward comes Meitzler and Pachalski upside down. They both start flipping. Corby Daniels stays on the wheels, but yeah, that was just a tough situation to be a part of.
There was so much bite in that 49 car that as soon as he got sideways, it just tipped on over. It probably dug in a little bit and caught some friction and just flipped straight over. I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like that on dirt. That's incredible. But we will take that quick stoppage of action, get the one lap completed. We were coming around to take a second lap completed, I do believe, but didn't quite get to the start-finish lines. We revert back to the previous lap complete. And Jamie Porter, he keeps the race lead. Travis Miller, you can see him there in second. Earl Jackson in third. But it only advances us that one marker.
Yeah, we will rack and restack them, and this will give these guys a chance to make something out of another restart opportunity. Maybe we'll go in Nitro Circus for a second. We'll keep the cars on all four wheels for a little bit, give them a chance to make some runs out of this restart and see if they learned anything from the last time. Jamie Porter probably going to do the same thing he did from this previous restart and from all the previous restarts he's had on the front row. So only time will tell, but I think these guys are going to need to think of something unique and problem solve a little bit if they want to figure out a way around that 45 off this restart.
Now, if you're watching this evening, watching along with us, first of all, thank you so much for doing so, but I gotta mention, we've got some fantastic racing coming up the next couple of days, and actually, here in just a little while with the Pacific Challenge Cup Series at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta down in Braselton, Georgia, with Porsche GT3 Cup cars. Then, tomorrow night, we've got the Nork Indianapolis 500. To complete the Indianapolis 1000, though, we'll have the IORL Indianapolis 500 on Wednesday evening. So, a lot of racing coming up. You can catch Pacific Challenge this evening at 10 p.m. Eastern. Nork with their Indianapolis 500 tomorrow night at 5:30, and then IORL on Wednesday at 7. Green flag flies once again. Lap 21 of 40. Now lap 22 of 40 as the 22 has got to regroup and get after that 45. But a quick pass on the inside. Here comes Earl Jackson.
More or less the same thing from the 22 this time. I was wondering if Travis Miller would try something unique to see if he could get Jamie Porter as they're getting
Ryder Schrauf!
Did he save it? He saved it.
Caution.
Caution comes out.
Oh my goodness.
Whoa. Oh. We got two upside down. I think that was Hilton. I might be mistaken.
That was Ryder Schrauf and Dean Meitzler that were turned up and turtles down the front stretch. But something went on here with Ryder Schrauf, and that's, I think, where it all starts. We kind of we both saw that developing back there to turn 4, and the reaction was similar. Here's Ryder Schrauf just in front of Randy Giroux. They go 3 wide into 3 momentarily. Brett Fisher on the outside, and Randy just tags him. It's the same thing as the previous 2 yellows, just tags him from behind. Now, what else? Oh, my goodness, guys. Whoa, Ryder Schrauf, he had saved it completely, and he gets blindsided.
Yeah, Schrauf was good to go down on the bottom side. He was just trying to keep the car under his wits and already had a caution to deal with. And then all of a sudden, Dean Meitzler coming in and Matt DeRitter, those two were getting at each other at the back end of the field right here. And obviously got into each other enough to send Meitzler into Schrauf and the two of them upside down on the front stretch.
I think Meitzler checked up and Matt didn't. I think it's simple as that.
Definitely looks like it. And that's the type of thing you could expect to see, you know, out of a situation where you got a slow car, yellow flag coming out, all that sort of stuff. Maybe one guy in front isn't quite, you know, is ready for a caution and the guy behind him just isn't. And unfortunate stuff that happens sometimes, and you just got to take it with the punches and get your car back together and get back out there and do the best you can. But not what Ryder Schrauf wanted to see at all. He did so much work to get that car straight down the front straightaway, and then obviously upside down he went.
Yeah, certainly not the showing that Ryder would have wanted. I think this season as a whole, he joined over here from the LTAC Cup Series back at Volusia when this series opened. Well, when this season opened up for the BRP iRacing Series, and it was cool to make him see him make that crossover. But it has not gone the way that he's wanted at all this season. I think no part of it has gone at all to his expectation, his hopes, and his dreams, anything like it.
No. I don't think so. And while you got to be willing to give yourself some time to get into the swing of things and join up with the group, he had a pretty good start to the first race, I believe. He did pretty okay for his first time out with the crew. And You know, he's just had some tough luck in the last couple races, and unfortunate stuff, not what you want to see at all for these drivers. You know, you want them to come out and be successful, but yeah, keep your head up and keep logging the laps. He looks like he's going to come on back out and do just that, so props to him, and hey, maybe he'll get a couple more spots out of it by the end of the night.
We'll re-rack him, restack him, as we always say. What's interesting here is Jamie Porter has taken the bottom side for this lap 23, coming to lap 24 restart. Earl Jackson to his outside. Travis Miller tucked in behind. Tanner Correa up top in fourth. Green flag flies. We're back racing at Bristol. And Porter, another fantastic restart.
I don't know if he was trying to throw a joker or if he was trying to get a leading edge on the rest of these guys and throw them off a little bit, but Jamie Porter, very well done on the bottom side off that restart, takes the race lead pretty significantly. Earl Jackson is running the bottom side behind him. Travis Miller, Gavin Eisel also making a great run of it right there.
Look at this battle, this gaggle into turn one, and a caution flag is out. It comes in the back with Tyler Puchalski.
Puchalski going to be around again. That yellow car we're very used to seeing. The 121 with the yellow and the blue on it in this series, a regular with the BRP guys, but unfortunately this is a situation he did not want to see and we did not want to see out of Tyler Puchalski. That restart right behind Maxime Plant. He runs kind of a middle line through 1 and 2. 3 wide. Now it goes to 2 wide. Hunter Holberg down to the inside, looking in that sort of top middle, and just a little bit of contact right there. The track just closed up in front of him with Holberg coming up the track.
Yeah, Holberg came up. Puchalski held the middle with nobody to his outside. I think you can argue both drivers probably made a slight mistake right there. I think that'd be fair to say. We'll watch this from another perspective, this time out of turn 4. And you can see Tyler's clear up top, and Hunter comes up, and, well, he wasn't clear, but it all just happens.
Yeah, it all just kind of got tight all at the same time for those guys, and it's a racing incident. It happens, and you know, we've seen it before in this series, and you'll probably see it again. You just get into those situations every once in a while. But Tyler Puchalski, get that car back out on track. You know, the rest of the guys will get some work done and try to salvage a couple more. We haven't gone too far into this race since we started getting a couple cautions. Cautions do breed cautions, and it seems to be playing that game right now. But, you know, we're slowly picking them away. So we got some time left in this race. But, yeah, the cautions have been breeding the cautions as of late.
Yeah, we were steamrolling ahead in that first little run to, well, not quite halfway, was it? We got the caution, lap 4, then we raced to lap 20 thereabouts, and then we had that yellow for Maxime Plant getting into Matt DeRitter, and since then, boy, this has been a slugfest. A lot of yellows, and, you know, we'll call it as we see it, call a spade a spade. It's just these guys, they're suddenly packed up once again. They see the race, the end of the race is in sight, and they're getting aggressive.
Yeah,
they're
starting to get there, I would say. You know, maybe this couple cautions in a row would take the mindset that you're getting a little bit antsy, and
oh, have you met a race car driver?
Yeah, you know,
no, they're digging. They're gonna keep digging.
Yeah, you know, you think, you know, we're closing in, we're past halfway, starting to get to crunch time, especially the guys at the back. But you know, these couple cautions back and forth are going to be creating a little bit of anxiety behind the wheel, a little bit of aggression, a little bit of frustration. So, you know, this is the type of situation where these guys start getting a little into it, kind of tough. So we'll just have to keep watching, see if they can keep their heads cool and get a couple of these laps in to get to the finish.
So, Joe, I know you like cats. We talk about our pets every once in a while here at PitStop TV. Mine is currently on the desk, his head twisted sideways, watching the cars go by. And it might just be leader bias, but boy, he's watching that 45 go around. His head turns as that 45 goes by the camera more than any other car. I don't know. Maybe that's the pet speaking, and maybe that's the pick we got to go with. Jamie Porter, he's still leading this evening. Are we going green this time? The pace car lights or pace truck lights might be out. We're not doubling up. I think we're going green. We're going green single file. So we'll see if this maybe staves off some of the aggression so far this evening. Earl Jackson will restart second. Travis Miller third. Gavin Eisel fourth. The same usual players moving forward. We'll see how this one ends. 15 laps to go with that green flag.
They go back rumbling and thundering into turn number 1. They run to the bottom side. Almost everybody went to the low side there. Jamie Porter leads the way. Earl Jackson's got pressure from Travis Miller, who looks a little bit into the middle of the racetrack. through 3 and 4. Jamie Porter going to come by and lead another lap. Gavin Isel looking to the inside of Travis Miller. Didn't quite go. We got cars around in turn 4. They stay green temporarily. Might get them away before we get back.
That's Dean Meitzler that got turned around. He's still working on getting back rolling. Everybody fights, though, up front for positions. Earl Jackson consistently and safely now in second place. A little sideways into the corner as they sling him in there on the slick. But Travis Miller, he's got some up top. He comes up side by side into 3, 1 bottom, 1 top, and a caution flag flies.
That might have been Alan Slight back there. That's my first guess, and it is. I saw Alan Slight just barely out of that back corner of the back straightaway when he came out of turn 2 get squirrely, so we'll get a replay back of what happened to the number 2 machine. He's been having a very solid performance tonight. That 2 car's just kind of lurking inside the top 10, looking into the top 5 all the way through this race. He's got the Wild Child right behind him in car number 11. That is Tanner Correa. They go down the front straightaway. You'll see they all try to dive to the bottom side. Hilton went up to the top. I think Plant was up there too. And then just a little bit of contact from the car behind and send him around. There were a lot of cars side by side right there. Actually, lucky we didn't get more out of that incident.
Yeah, that's an understatement, I would say. A lot could have gone wrong, and a lot did go wrong, I would say. But man, that was interesting there in turns 1 and 2. And Tanner just got into him. Man, they take out our camera up top of the wall. This is a little ways before it happened. It'll happen the next time down the backstretch as we just saw. So now we're coming around to the front. It'll happen this time out of turn number 2. Alan Slight's just going to get that little bit of contact from behind. The Wild Child gets into him. They're digging down low, and there's the contact. How did they not crash worse? Oh, they did. Randy Jerome, Maxime Plant have troubles in 3. They kept rolling, though. And did Randy have more problems? It looks like he was able to roll away. What about Maxime? Did he get stuck back there? Yes, possibly. It looks like it, yeah.
Yeah, so that was, we didn't quite catch the secondary of that incident because they kept rolling and just didn't catch the eye. But obviously, you know, that's not good for Maxime Plant. He was kind of running pretty strong right there to try to get back up to the front. And I was going to mention it myself that he was the only guy willing to go up to the top of the racetrack still. And, you know, it was the same deal as the top line earlier in the race. When every driver in the field is running one line, there's going to come a point where the other is going to be a little more dominant. So once everybody's running to the bottom side, there comes a point where the top gets dominant again. Maxime Plant was kind of waiting for that instance to happen, but a little prematurely he got taken out of the spot he was in and gets sent to the back again from that yellow.
You can see the field pacing here at the Bristol Motor Speedway, getting ready to get back green flag racing very, very shortly. And, man, I can't wait to see how this one plays out. A lot's already gone on this race, and a lot is yet to go on, I would say, for sure. And I can't wait to see how this affects the point standings, as per usual. It seems like it's always the time after a race when we get to put those point standings in that I'm always looking most forward to see how the battle evolves and to get an idea of how it might evolve the next week. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how these next 12 green flag laps, hopefully green flag laps, go. You know what? Gotta knock on wood, especially with the way the last 10 or so laps have gone, but I'm truly looking forward to seeing how Jamie Porter can mix this one up, and I think he's owed a win at this point. He's almost had it a couple of times. He deserves that feature win at some point along the way. Where was it? I gotta think back. Where did he get slide job? Was it Lima Land? Yeah, it was Lima Land where he got thrown back. That's why Lima Land stuck out to me earlier when I was talking about him. He deserves that Lima Land race back, I'd say, where Maxime slid him and got into him. But the green flag comes out. We'll see if he can capitalize on it this evening. Another high banked, not quite bull ring, high speed racetrack here at Bristol, and he is flying.
Yeah, Jamie Porter's been in control of this race. He's had plenty of pressure, don't get me wrong, but he definitely has the car to win tonight. He's just got to fend off a hungry group of guys behind him. They are racing for second place. You got Earl Jackson, Travis Miller, Gavin Isel. They're all racing really close together. Gavin Isel down at the bottom, and we got 2 cars around on the front straightaway again.
Getting a lot more used to saying that line as Hunter Hulberg parks it, doing a Well, he stopped. Do you call that a stoppie, even though he was grinding on the wall? That one's a little more confusing, but we'll take a look at this one and see what happens. And it looks like it's going to happen ahead of Dean Meitzler. I dare say probably with Hunter Holberg and maybe even some cars up ahead. So this is an overhead view of it all. Alan Slight, Tyler Pachalski, they're doing battle. The slick racetrack, these guys getting aggressive, they're making small mistakes, and I mean, yep, just slid right into them.
Yeah, Pachalski moved up a little bit. Holberg was coming along, and contact big time right there. Dean Meitzler just involved in it. And then I'm not very well versed, I'll admit, on the skateboard vocabulary. I don't remember what they call that, if it's just a grind or a shred along when they take a skateboard and slide along a single rail like that. But I'm sure Tony Hawk would have been proud to see what Holberg just had right there.
Well, but what is it when you stop? Because I know a stoppie is when you will stop on the nose, be it a dirt bike or a skateboard, whatever. You stop on the nose, pick up the rear, but he stopped while doing a grind on the... I don't know. Anyways, lap 30 now will be in the books once we take this green flag here in just a few. I have to wonder if we're going to stick with some single file restarts possibly then, because that one, I mean... It's hard to say, and we're not race control, but it seems like these restarts are helping contribute to the cautions, unfortunately.
Well, they were doing it kind of before with the double file, but I do think the single file mentality is letting the group of guys get a little aggressive on which lines they're choosing into the corners. Obviously, being single file, they don't get forced into a line, they're given the choice, and then they get a little aggressive and things start going calamity-wise once more. So we'll have to just wait and see what race control keeps doing, if they're going to give them the double file or the single file again. We've had a couple back-to-back from the single files, so we've seen it before with the BRP series. You know, they're doing their best to get these guys riled down and get them to the end of this race and have a good run to the finish. So we'll see if they just say this time, hey, we want to go single file again, try to get these guys in line, or we want to go double file again and try to force them to commit earlier into the corner what they're going to do. Maybe that'll keep them from getting a little out of hand.
And you know what, Joe? That's why we keep you around. It's, you know, difference of opinion. Andrew versus Joe. Yin versus Yang. You know, a little bit of a difference there. I'm glad to have that kind of conversation as well. Sometimes you get guys that just, yep, you're right, Andrew, or whoever's leading, yep, you're always right, Eric. No. It's good to have these conversations, these differences of opinion. I mean, it's hard to say what the right move is here. I think as a driver, you just got to sit back, give it a couple of corners, give it a couple of laps. You got a chance to still go up there and fight that guy. Let us get a couple of laps in, and I'm sure that that opportunity will come to you. But also, it is the product of this racetrack. It's so fast, so high banked. Most any line can work in some way, shape, or form, and it keeps these guys packed up. And that's why we see the 2-3 wide racing, even just a half lap after restarting single file. So, especially with how slicked off it is now, it's just going to, I think, continue no matter what you do. But hey, we'll give it another shot here. This should complete lap 30. I believe we're coming to the green flag. Pace truck looking like he's going to duck into the pit lane. Everybody grouping up top next to the wall. And Jamie Porter's got another chance at glory. If he can complete these 10 laps green as quickly as possible. We'll see how it goes. Green flag back out. 10 to go.
And Jamie Porter's really hoping these guys keep it in line and don't cause a yellow again. He wants to get to the end of this race because he's got a really good car underneath him, and just over time you can see it go. So we've seen it before, we can see it again, but Jamie Porter now on the bottom side trying to defend from Earl Jackson down low, and Travis Miller making a run up top, try to hold on. He's got a pretty solid lead already.
Earl Jackson digging the bottom. Travis Miller places that car right in the moisture, the middle top side, kind of. It's weird to say middle top, but that's where that moisture is. Keeps the right rear in it. Caution flag flies once again.
And we got Maxime Plant involved again, so that's going to be another instance of the 79 car involved in this one. I think, if I recall correctly, Maxime was one of those guys that wasn't as thrilled and excited to be at Bristol. You know, it's a tough track, and it suits some guys, and it doesn't suit others, and right now, tonight at least, with how slick it's been, it seems like Maxime Plant's not really getting what he wants out of this one. Although, I will say, this is not any fault of his own in this yellow flag. Definitely got called out by Adam Hilton right there, getting loose on the top side and involving him down the back straightaway.
Yeah, that's just Adam Hilton getting squirrely out of turn 2, and when he goes to save the car, it comes right back down into Maxime. You can see the white and green 3 on the outside, and suddenly you'll see a whole lot of it in a moment right here. Just body slams Maxime, and Maxime had worked back into the top 10. In fact, around the 8th position, it looked like. He was on a roll. He was working himself back into this race all of a sudden, and Adam Hilton has derailed that. We'll take his onboard here when we come back on a replay, and you'll see the line of cars up ahead. This is onboard with Maxime Plant. This is big. The point leader is mired way back here. This easily could take the championship lead and give it right back to Travis Miller unless Maxime can work back through at least 3 or 4 of these cars.
Yeah, that's a really great point, Andrew. You got Travis Miller up at the front end, contending for second, contending for the lead possibly in the future laps of this race. Maxime Plant just keeps getting caught out at the tail end of this field. So while for the moment it's not looking good, you know, he's got time to turn it around, but perspectively right now, it's very exciting. And I think, you know, if we could tabulate really quickly and throw it up, obviously we can't, but if we had the opportunity to do that, I think all the fans watching at home would see that Travis Miller, you know, this is the type of thing he wants and needs, especially after having a couple tough races. The 22 car definitely going to be benefiting from this right now.
Maxime is currently scored in about 15th. Let's do it real quick on our own. I will go through the process as we pace real quick since it is so topical. Hop on over to our points sheet. And obviously, you won't see this on the broadcast, so I'll try and walk you guys through this real quick as I put some points in. Now, this is just from race points. This is not figuring in any bonuses that would really change things up. But if we go down to Maxime Plant right here, he's in 15th. That would currently pay 27 points. And Travis Miller in 3rd would currently pay 41. And just on that alone, that shifts the lead to Travis Miller by 1 point. So bonuses would change things up. The heat points would change things up. But currently, that's how you're looking. So that's how important it is for Maxime Plant to work back through the field. Green flag flies, though. 8 laps to go from Bristol.
Great restart once again by Jamie Porter. I think Travis Miller dove in a little hard on turns 1 and 2, trying to catch up to Earl Jackson. Didn't quite go. Earl Jackson retains P2. Gavin Eisel maybe trying to go to the bottom side of Travis Miller even. Brett Fisher behind them. He's got the top 5 rolling right now. That 21 car looking to see if he can get a couple more as we get past the line green that time. Gavin Eisel making a run for 3rd place on the bottom.
Oh, you had to say it! You had to say it!
No, did I do it?
We had the green flag that time, and a caution flag.
I want to apologize on behalf of everybody watching this broadcast right now. I fully jinxed that 110%. That's my fault. I apologize sincerely.
Dean Meisler in trouble back here with Alan Slight, it looked like. Here's the silver bullet 49, and boy, it's ricocheted a lot this evening. And this is unfortunate to see as well for Dean. He had such a great run at Knoxville, and I think trending upwards into the top 10 in our power rankings. And whoa, a lot more happened. Alan Slight. Yeah. I was not expecting to see a stop 2 car on the inside. That would be why Dean chucked the car to the top side of the racetrack. What happens here, I wonder?
I like the way you said that you wouldn't have expected that stop number 2, because obviously Dean didn't either, but he just a little bit of a love tap from Tyler Pachalski, and you see Dean Meisler behind him avoiding the car and getting a piece of the wall. That's a tough way to bring out a yellow again. Slight was trying to get back up through the field too. That's a tough break for that 2 machine. He had a pretty good chance tonight, and that's definitely not going to help us.
Well, yeah, he was racing up there in the 8th position or so, maybe 10th with Ryder Schrauf, Tyler Pachalski, and Tyler's just going to turn him into 1. So again, a little bit of spatial awareness. And Dean, wow, I mean, he's got no other option. He's either into the 2 car head on or into the wall head on, one of the 2.
Yeah, that's a tough break, and it's a tough decision to make as a driver. What are you gonna do? You know, you're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place there. An unfortunate situation for Dean.
Or a car in a hard place.
Well, yeah, those are two pretty rough situations as well. I wouldn't want to be in between either of those as well if I were Dean Meisler. So that's just kind of part of being at the tail of the field too. I think, you know, you're just statistically and objectively more prone to have that sort of situation arise when you're at the tail end of the field. But those guys back there have been racing really hard for a while, so we've seen it a few times, and those cars are beat up pretty nicely as a result.
Yeah, that's an understatement, I would say. A lot of cars looking like they've been through the NASCAR Cup race here on Bristol Dirt. If you recall back to how that race went. I'm not sure how the World of Outlaws events went here with the late models and sprint cars, but boy, there were some torn up race cars in the NASCAR Cup race here at Bristol. But we'll come around and we will take lap 35. It looks like this time pace truck lights are extinguished. The entire field rolls by our turn 3 static camera right there. We'll have 6 laps to go this time, Joe. And Jamie Porter launches off the top, uses that banking to get some momentum, and we're back green flag racing. They're stacked up for 5th.
Looks like the number 18 car didn't get a really great restart right there.
Oh, a wild child, a wild save. DeRitter's going to hook Shroff, and they're crashing. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, man. Well, we had a good run.
It's like the backstretch at Coda. It's the wreck that just keeps on giving.
Well, it was car after car just kept sliding into that incident. You saw, I mean, there were a couple guys who insinuated this whole ordeal that didn't even get involved in the major parts of it, but you're watching Ryder Shroff right here back off the restart. These guys get bunched up pretty bad out of turn 4, but it looks like Shroff did okay with it, but obviously 1 and 2 up front, that's going to be, these guys right here is going to show you what comes and transpires. You got Korea sideways, DeRitter. Shroff tried to check up and get around it, but just not enough was quick, and then bam, wham, Honeyham. We got a car airborne.
Bam, wham, honey, ham. Is that what you just said?
I can confirm that did get stated.
Let's take it on board here. This is Dean Meitzler coming into this wreck on the backstretch, and this was big. This was large, as one Tony Stevens might say. It all happens again. I think a very common theme this evening. Someone gets in the back of somebody, you can't put a nose underneath the rear end, and we stack up. There's not a whole lot else you could say about it. That is big. And Dean, I'm sure, probably just took a fast repair, considering the car looked a little bit cleaner than previously, and probably just lost that fast repair as a result of that one. What I do want to mention, though, is we're going to restart with 5 laps to go. And Jamie Porter's your race leader. Joe, he's in a good spot.
Yeah, Jamie Porter's been rocking the restarts. I think that's an understatement. He's been doing very well on every opportunity to get a start that he's had so far in this broadcast and this race. Obviously, Earl Jackson's trying to find something for him, but just not quite yet. The 58 just hasn't broken through quite yet. Maybe he will. I won't count him out, but Jamie Porter's been rocking those restarts really good, and he gets a really nice lead that he can hold for a good couple laps before anybody charges up to challenge him for the race lead. So just as we get closer and closer to the finish, Jamie Porter's just closer and closer to getting that one good restart he needs to seal the deal and win at Bristol tonight.
We've got the potential for probably 5 more restarts if these guys... And you know what? What's doing it is the way you have to run this racetrack right now. I've noticed you've got to get in the line. It doesn't matter if it's bottom or top. You've got to get in the conga line and go. And the problem with that is you stack up. One guy ahead of you just lifts or breaks a little bit in one particular part of the corner, and you're stacking up because you don't expect it. So that's why we're having all these caution flags with the way the track is worn in. Green flag back out, though. 5 laps to go. Miller trying to go around the outside of Earl Jackson. He gets a run out of turn 2. Can't quite get there. And look at that. He stacks up on the straightaway. Now Eisel bottom feeds, catfishes, and takes third away.
Travis Miller just barely holding that very thin piece of what's somewhat tacky in the middle exit of turns 2 and 4. It got him around Gavin Eisel. This time he's holding on to Earl Jackson, who saw behind him what Miller was doing and now is going to play the same. Eisel down to the bottom as well. Good run right here. They come to 3 to go. Eisel's not giving up for our podium just yet.
Look at them work through turns 1 and 2. Look at this. We're down to 3 laps to go. We've got a little run right here, possibly. We'll take popsicle sticks this time by. Porter has all but checked out. They're battling for second. Travis Miller now takes that spot away. Third goes to Earl Jackson as he goes up high.
You got Earl Jackson a little bit of the wall right there. Brett Fisher holding on in P5. These guys running very well together, all looking for their podiums and their necessary points to keep running. But that guy, Jamie Porter, is going to get the white flag. What a show he's got so far. He's only got a lap left to keep it straight.
Jamie Porter down the backstretch for the final time. These guys are still mixing it up further back, but the 45th car through turns 3 and 4 is finally going to exit Bristol at a BRP iRacing Series race. A winner! A feature race winner is Jamie Porter. Oh, that one feels good.
And a class show at the front of the field for Jamie as well. Well deserved. If you're going to win it, you got to win it in style, and Jamie Porter absolutely tore away from the field tonight. Congratulations. Well deserved. I don't think any car really deserved it at all compared to how well that 45 machine ran tonight.
He qualified fastest. He won his heat race. He goes out here after starting on pole, keeps the car the cleanest of anybody, and it wasn't always like he just checked out. He had to fight for it in the early goings. It was only those restarts later on that kept handing him the race lead, and boy did he hang on. Boy did he capitalize. Boy is he a race winner. Jamie Porter will leave Bristol with maximum effort, maximum points, and maximum destruction further behind. The 45 car wins at Bristol. We'll talk to him and some more in just a little bit. Don't go anywhere. This is continuing coverage from Bristol in the BRP iRacing Series Pro Dirt Late Model Tour.
Sound Art introduces an entirely new way to listen to music in your home. By combining the best of two products, a revolutionary high-fidelity, low-profile Bluetooth wireless speaker with beautiful artwork. Select from a library of artwork or upload your own photos to personalize your experience. Sound Art ushers in an era of invisible, beautiful, and amazing sound throughout your home and redefines your entire entertainment system. The need to reclaim your floor space and rid your home of unsightly speaker boxes that need to be bolted to the wall is now a thing of the past. Our canvas is printed on high-quality permalite by Breathing Color. And select from our gallery or upload your own. Standard sizes include 16 by 20 and 18 by 24 canvas wrapped. Custom sizing is available, as well as surround sound options.
Have you found yourself trying to hide your joy because you're unhappy with your teeth? Your smile is the first feature noticed in an interview, on a date, or in family photos. We want you to be able to shine bright as your best self, and our teeth whitening system is the perfect step toward restoring your confidence.
Welcome back to the virtual Bristol Motor Speedway. 1/2 mile of action gave us 20 miles of calamity this evening. I am still trying to wrap my head around everything that happened this evening. A whole lot of pace laps. I think we went well beyond those 20 miles, but boy, that was still a fantastic race, especially the battles up front. I think that was the highlight of the evening through, and the biggest surprise, certainly the biggest highlight of the evening, has to be Jamie Porter finally stepping through, finally getting that feature race win. This could be one of the feel-good stories of the season. Last week at Lanier Raceplex, it was all Gavin Eisel. This evening at Bristol, it's all Jamie Porter. Let's bring in the driver of the 45 for the first time here on PitStop TV. Jamie, buddy! A feature race winner. Maximum points on the evening. It's gotta feel good.
Yeah, this is a great feeling coming in, qualifying fast time and winning the heat. Honestly, can't ask for a much better night.
I think that's a pretty fair way to put it. This is about the best night you could possibly have. Maybe could have led practice too, possibly, but this is perfect. And I think this mirrors the effort that you had going a few weeks back at Limaland, where unfortunately there was some contact with you and Maxime Plant. But this has got to feel like pretty good redemption.
Oh yeah, for sure. Especially after the last couple of weeks I've been having with my computer troubles and everything. So finally getting that stuff figured out and coming back and coming up with a bang, really. Especially after signing with Beef Sports too, feels good. You know, it's an awesome feeling, really.
Yeah, I mentioned last week at Lanier that you had that new signing on with Beef Sports, and that is huge. You know what? It might have been the mod race last week. Regardless, mentioned it as soon as I saw the news. How has that changed your preparation going into these races?
Not a whole bunch. I find I practice a lot more now. Just you know, I want to go out there and be as professional as possible and represent Beef and all those guys as well as I can, right?
Well, you're certainly representing them well this evening. I don't want to maybe kind of razz the team too much, but I think you're the first team winner aside from Travis Miller in the series. That is big. And I think this win is a little bit overdue. Certainly you've got the high bank tracks figured out, but how do you feel about Weed Sport next week heading up to New York?
I feel pretty good. It's a hit and a miss there for me. I just do what I can really every night. I go there, just try to qualify good, and then see where the rest of the night takes me.
Absolutely. Well, I can't wait to see where it takes you. Hopefully back up towards the top of the scoreboard. Who do you have to thank? Who do you have to shout out this evening in your first race win?
For starters, Beef Sports just recently signed with them, so that's awesome. Evergreen Thrift Store, Miller's Auto Detailing, Matt from MDR Designs. He always gives me a sweet wrap to come out here and I guess win with now. Arrington Property Maintenance, and you guys for putting on such a good show every week.
Well, thank you so much for your time this evening, Jamie. Congratulations on this run. This is huge for you, buddy. Soak it up, live it up. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Jamie Porter wins this evening at Bristol. I know a lot of drivers maybe weren't looking forward to it, probably still aren't looking forward, I guess, looking back at it with very kind eyes, but Jamie Porter's got to feel pretty good at this one and probably wants it on the schedule for seasons to come, possibly. But this guy, I said top of the show, Joe, Travis Miller had to figure something out. He had to reverse his practice result. He literally did that from 15th out of 16 to 2nd. He literally went from the bottom to the top. Incredible stuff from Travis, and we'll hand him your way.
Yeah, so one guy who definitely had to overcome a lot, especially after the result last time out. He does it. Travis, you got that second place, but you had to earn it in those last couple laps and restarts.
Yeah, for sure. It was tough. I think Bristol's just, you know, like a lot of lines, they'll come and go, but it's a lot of follow the leader there, I've noticed. And I mean, when a line changes, usually everybody's able to figure it out pretty quick. So I was just happy to come away with second there. And, you know, Jamie he was pretty smooth all night, and I just had nothing for him there at the end.
He definitely held on pretty well, but you held on well when the track changed. And being in the daytime, obviously this dirt track's going to slick off pretty quickly. How did that affect you behind the wheel? How did the daytime environment, getting the track older quicker, affect your strategy and your plan to get to the front throughout this race?
Yeah, it made it a lot more tough. I think I was only running about half throttle around the entire track. I knew we really couldn't run around the rim there. It was just too far out. The way the bank works, it's too long around, and so I was just kind of really just sliding that middle line there for the longest time. And it's just you know, with the amount of cautions we had, it was just tough. Like I'd get around a couple guys, and the caution would come out and have to give it back, and they didn't know that line was there, right? So it was just a lot of back and forth, and luckily it worked out for us.
Indeed, and it worked out well at a time you needed it most, especially with Maxime Plant having a tough go of things. This really brought back your championship run. It's getting closer. How do you feel going into Weed Sport in the next couple of races now that you've got a lot more momentum on your side to get that championship?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for Weed Sport. I've ran pretty good there, and you know, we gained about 10 points tonight, so it you know, that's just racing, all right. Like last week we had a bad night. This week Max had a bad night, so it's just the way that racing goes, and hopefully we can come out of Weed Sport next week with a good finish and close the gap even a little bit more and have a good season.
Well, a good season you guys have had so far, and looking to capitalize on that again next time. Before we let you go, Travis, to celebrate your second place, we're going to give you center stage, let you thank all of the people behind you who have helped get that 22 car shaped up and ready to go for this run tonight.
Yeah, I just got to thank Miller's Auto Detailing, Gaston's Auto Sales, BRP Sports, the BRP iRacing Series, and Corby Crowley does, MDR Designs for the awesome car, Bicknell Racing Products, you guys for putting this on. I gotta thank my girlfriend for always watching, and shout out to the boys. They tuned in tonight to watch, so shout out to them, and yeah.
We'll crack a cold one for the boys after this second place finish tonight. Congratulations from us here, Travis, and we'll hope to keep talking to you as this season progresses. Good run tonight, my man.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
And with that, we're gonna get the Beef Esports guys out through their 1-2 finish right there. Definitely worth celebrating there. I'll hand it back to Andrew. We got a different one, a new guy coming up through, or somebody we don't talk to very regularly here in the booth. I'll hand it off to you, Andrew.
The first time we'll have talked to Tanner here in the PitStop TV booth, but good to have this 11 car with us. And Tanner, buddy, we were informed just a little while ago before this broadcast that your new nickname is the Wild Child, as evidenced by the back end of your spoiler on your brand new wrap, I believe, from Matt Ritter Designs. It looks good. It ran good tonight. Almost that top 5, and you were in 5th a few times. How'd your night go?
I think it went all right. The biggest thing for me is improving. That's what I would say the most. It was a little bit rough. It was a really rough race, and I'm really surprised and most lucky that I got through that first big wreck that happened in the top 5. I don't know how I made it through it, but I made it happen.
Yeah, boy, which first big wreck? There were a few this evening. How did you miss them? We talked earlier on about, avoiding calamity being the key to success this evening. Obviously, you missed a few of them, if not most of them. How did you do so?
I don't know. These first few weeks of the season, it hasn't been really going my way. I've been caught up in a lot of wrecks, and I just learned to back off and watch everything happen in front of me and try to react in time. That's about it.
Well, certainly something went right this evening, and you've kind of been turning up the wick these last couple of weeks. These last couple of weeks. We've been saying your name a whole lot more. So with that, I do want to get clarification. Is it Korea?
It's Korea, like the country.
Gotcha.
That's what I like to say. Yeah.
So along with you turning up the wick, getting up there more, we've been talking more about this 11 car. Where do you see the season going from here on out? You're getting closer, if not into the top 10, especially after this one. You should pass Alan Slight, possibly even some other guys like Adam Hilton, and who knows who else. You are suddenly in this conversation, maybe not quite for a championship just yet, but certainly for a fantastic points finish.
Yeah, so for me, this season, I just really wanted consistency. That's like my base thing. Like, this is only my 6th month on the sim. I've never done this before this year. So just being able to compete with these guys, these great guys, it's unbelievable. I'm glad that I can make it happen.
Absolutely. Well, it's good to have you here, buddy. Again, showing that you've got speed, showing that you've got strength. Can't wait to see how the season goes from here on out. Who do you have to thank? Who do you have to shout out? Who makes it happen for you?
So MDR Designs, most importantly, and Matt himself. He's a big reason why I got into sim racing in the first place, and he introduced me to these great group of guys that welcome me with open arms. And then next we got Creative Turnings, which is my father's wood turning business. He makes it all possible. He's been with me in racing since I was like 5 years old, and it's a great thing. And most importantly, I would say Beef. That's the man. He makes it happen, and he's just a great person to be around.
We're glad to have you here once again in the league, and you've certainly been making a name for yourself, buddy. Congratulations on a pretty good run this evening. Hopefully next week it's officially in that top 5, if not on the podium, even a race win at Weed Sport. We'll see you there.
All right, thanks, man. Have a good night.
That's Tanner Korea wrapping things up from, again, very nearly a top 5 finish this evening. And I think that top 5, if not better finishes, are coming for that guy. He's got something going to that 11 car, got some momentum. And, boy, Olmo, it's a fickle man, but you got to keep Olmo happy.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think Tanner's one of those guys. We got a lot of them in this field, don't get me wrong, but one of those guys that's definitely slowly been working up and slowly been getting more consistent, better runs. And I definitely would love to see it. And I think it's valid to say you could expect that Tanner will get one of those big breaks in a couple of these races coming. There's a lot of different racetracks, a lot of unique facilities left on the schedule. So whatever suits his driving style, he's going to have a chance. And he's one of those guys, I think, that's been putting in the work to do it.
Absolutely, along with along with those other guys that joined him towards the top of the scoring pylon this evening. Jamie Porter, of course, taking the race win this evening out of Canada. Travis Miller, though, finishes second place. We talked to him a little bit ago. Gavin Eisel finishes third. Another podium finish for that guy. He is consistent. Earl Jackson right there with him. It's hard to pick a favorite out of those two specifically. But, man, you throw in Travis Miller and Maxime Plant, it gets even more difficult. Brett Fisher finishes in fifth, just in front of Tanner Correa. Randy Jerome makes a top 7 out of things, and Maxime Plant falls to 8th, but actually realistically recovers to 8th with how far he was down the running order.
Yeah, that's definitely a great point right there, Andrew. Maxime was way further back than that, but you look back to P9, you got Adam Hilton. He did a pretty solid job of recovering that car as well. Ryder Schrauf, same for him, had a couple incidents. He gets P10 out of tonight's showdown. You roll it back to the 11th finishing position. You've got Tyler Pachalski in car number 121. Then you got Alan Slight in P12, Hunter Holberg in P13, 14th for Corby Daniels, 15th for Dean Meitzler, and in 16th, the final car in the running order, Matt DeRitter tonight. Tough break for him. He had a very strong beginning to this night, and it just didn't quite go his way at the end. But a lot of those guys at the tail end were involved in a good couple crashes. So at least we're good to see and happy to see that they kept trekking on and got to the finish and got all those laps in.
Yeah, I think Matt easily could have been in the race winner conversation if not for that incident with he and Maxime Plant topside of turn 2. And you have to consider what could have happened then as well for Maxime through the rest of this race if that incident hadn't have happened. So, man, a lot left to be wishing for with the 03 car this evening. And that, I think, is the biggest unfortunate takeaway for sure, that Matt DeRitter showed up this evening, had a car that I think could have won, and Maxime right there with him. That small little entanglement, I think, kicked off a pretty unfortunate set of events, that a chain reaction of events that really changed up this race. But hey, Jimmy Porter, I think most deserving driver in the field this evening, kept the race lead, kept the race win, and that is rather important when you get into those caution breed caution kind of scenarios. I think that is hugely important. But none of these broadcasts, none of these races, these leagues, these series would be possible without the heart and soul of the BRP iRacing series. Of course, Bicknell Racing Products, the namesake of the series, as well as Matt DeRitter Designs, painting a lot of those cars, and it seems like the car count goes up and up and up every single week. Jam Performance, as well as Pete Costco Haulage and Miller's Auto Detailing on board that 22 car this evening that finished in second place. And a big shout out to our partners as well at PitStop TV, of course, Tucson Sound Art, your picture, your music. Use promo code PitStop TV at checkout for 10% off of your order. Race Paint Setups, permanent makeup and cryo in Maine, where you deserve the best care that money can buy. Whiplash Media, the official broadcast, camera, and graphic provider of PitStop TV. And BAM Racing Videos by a race fan for the racing community. Joe, we've already kind of talked a little bit about this place, but I gotta ask, final thoughts as we get ready to leave Bristol.
Well, you know, I thought that the race was pretty solid, especially that first half was really exciting and good running, and then the track got old and slick, and the guys kind of had to recover from the way the track aged so quickly, and it didn't go super well for a little while, but by the end of it, they got the grips on it, and it was a little difficult to get through for them to just kind of figure out what line they needed to take to try to take a challenge to Jamie Porter, and it didn't quite work out for anybody. I mean, Jamie Porter was just a class of the field, but you know, Bristol's always exciting. It gives you some interesting, unique, once-in-a-season type events and occurrences. I think we saw a couple of those tonight, but, you know, Weed Sport's just as much one of those tracks. It's a very unique layout for a facility, and I think these guys should be revving and excited to get up to Weed Sport next week. So it's going to be cool. It's going to be exciting, and I'm satisfied with the way it turned out.
Absolutely, and I'm pretty sure that points gap for the lead is going to be somewhere under 5 points. So if you needed a reason to tune in next week, there it is. That is your reason. I can't wait to see how things go in 1 week's time up in the state of New York. It's going to be a lot of fun, but make sure that you stay along with us the rest of the week as well. I mentioned it earlier. Here in just under a half hour, in fact, exactly a half hour from now, we will begin coverage of the Pacific Challenge Cup Series at 10:10 p.m. Eastern Time. They will be taking to Michelin Raceway at Road Atlanta this evening in the Porsche 911 GT3 Cup cars. That should be a lot of fun. Some smaller car counts, let's be honest, but also some fantastic racing, some great battles, and who knows, maybe Nick Ludicky finally gets upset at the race lead this evening. It is certainly a possibility. Make sure to check in. 2 sprint races along with 1 feature here in just a little while from Road Atlanta. Then tomorrow evening, it's the Newark iRacing series, but changing things up a little bit, taking some rocket ships to Indianapolis Motor Speedway for 500 miles of action to begin the first half of our Indianapolis 1000 this week. They kick things off at 5:30 p.m. Eastern tomorrow night, I guess tomorrow afternoon almost, and then the IORL will take things to Indianapolis, well, the second day in a row, with the IORL Indianapolis 500, the 12th running thereof. Rick Ravon won it last year, his first 500 victory. Can he go back-to-back? Can he double up? We've got to wait and find out. I think certainly he is one of the favorites. He rolls off second on the grid alongside his teammate Scott List-Rambler, who set pole time. There's a lot to watch for the rest of the week. Make sure you tune in for all of it here on PitStop TV. That does conclude our coverage tonight, however, of the BRP Pro Late Model Tour. We at PitStop TV thank you for tuning in and joining us for tonight's action, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. Make sure to follow us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/PitStopTV, on Twitter at PitStopTV_, on Instagram at Pit_Stop_TV, on Twitch at www.twitch.tv/Pit_Stop_TV, and on YouTube at www.com. I've done that before. www.youtube.com/C/PitStopTV1. For all of PitStop TV, though, Joe Donahue and Trey Shuttlesworth along for the ride with me this evening. My name is Andrew Cardinale IV. It's been a doozy. Make sure to tune in a half hour when Emerson Arden and JP Costa take you through the Pacific Challenge Cup Series at Road Atlanta. Until then, have a fantastic evening. We'll see you for the next one.